Welcome to E4 Electric live from Bangkok, and today I'm going to talk about something that I pretty much never talk about because I have never done this before. And today I'm going to tell you why I have decided to short my Tesla stock. Well, not my Tesla stock, Tesla stock. Now, of course, because this is being broadcasted to America and I'm an American company, E4 Electric, I have to tell you that this is for entertainment purposes only. I'm not an investor. This is not investment advice. This is just what's in my brain. Okay, so please don't sue me, I guess is what I'm saying. I'm also going to tell you what actually stopped me from doing that. And before I get to that, and I'm going to tell you about what stopped me first, I'm going to tell you that I have only invested in a stock, ever bought any stock, only once in my entire life, and I'm almost 50. So I'm not an investor. I don't really do this, but I just saw such a huge opportunity that this is going to be, I guess, the second time that I play with the stock market, and you will be surprised which stock I actually bought and sold once, and it was Tesla stock, and I tripled my money with my investment. I bought it back in the day when it was like $99 before all the splits and all the fun. But that's the only stock, and I'm using the same sort of logic behind it as I did many years ago. There's no information that I have that you guys don't have. It was exactly the same because I believe that Tesla was going to be a big company, that they're going to sell a lot of electric cars, and I was like, I am putting my money and betting on it. And that's what I did. Now, I pulled my money out a while back because I was buying a house. And obviously, at some point, I realized I cannot invest into any automotive stock because of conflict of interest. But now I've decided, okay, well, there's no conflict of interest if I already been criticizing Tesla for quite some time and just want to make some extra money on it out in the open. Well, why not? So let me tell you my thinking behind it. But first, let me tell you why I didn't do it. And it's not because of my own logic. It's because now that I live overseas, my account that I have, my brokerage, does not allow, people who live overseas to short stock. That is the only reason. Otherwise, I would be doing it. As a matter of fact, I was really contemplating how much of my own money I'm willing to put into it. And also, let me put my money where my mouth has been all this time, which is I've been very critical of Tesla. So let me walk you through it. And once again, for those of you who have lawyers, who sue companies for selling hot coffee and then spilling it on the lab and still suing the company that you wanted a hot coffee from, this is literally just my personal exercise and my personal thoughts. So let me tell you about quite a few things that I've observed. Why I think, and again, I do have to say that a lot of times I see the stock price of a company not reflect the reality. This is why I kind of never played with the stock market, because you can use all of the logic that you want, and it's not going to come out. Like, I'll give you an example. So my father, actually, he is AI scientist, believe it or not. He started doing AI in the 70s and 80s, and he's published books. But he basically can predict where the giant oil fields can be found, which is also ironic because his son is an electric car, enthusiast. And he saw that one company, oil company, bought land in the area where he predicted that there will be a giant oil field. And he said, hey, listen, let me get rich on this, right? So he invested money he bought the stock of that company, and they bought the land. They started drilling, and they found a huge oil field there. Guess what happened to the stock? It went down. So I know there's not a lot of times logic to what's happening. But let's just try to use some logic and pretend that the stock is going to follow it. So here are the things that I'm looking at where I really do think that unless Tesla at this point hires a real CEO, things are going to be really it's going to start looking pretty bad, and I'll tell you why. I mean, first, let me start with just the numbers. By the way, most of this is data. Let me just, none of this is my feelings. As a matter of fact, it hurts my feelings that I'm an electric car YouTuber who started as one of the one of the first 3,000 Teslas that were sold. I bought one of them, right? It was signed by Elon Musk. I invested into stock. I promoted Tesla everywhere I went, volunteered on Earth Day events and all that stuff. So it hurts my feelings. But here's what I'm seeing. One, Q1 and Q2 results. Okay, first half a year of sales for Tesla have been so bad. They're the only electric car maker who sells cars in America who has sold less cars, year over year than pretty much any other manufacturer. That number has somehow been ignored by pretty much everybody. Is a devastating number. That means that people already are not buying as many Teslas as last year. And there's a lot that goes into it. I've unpacked it in many videos, so I don't want to go over this again, but that's just data. And that's pretty bad. Number two, and this is another thing that people are missing, don't think that I'm really taking this seriously, but the Tesla Cybertruck, this is essentially their latest invention, cutting edge, pickup truck. And they're supposed to be this is supposed to be their pride and joy. Once again, Tesla is supposed to be great. Sorry, I gotta get my air conditioning on. They're supposed to be breaking all the records, and 2 million reservations. I don't think any car ever had 2 million reservations. It hasn't been a year since they started delivering them, and still relatively low numbers because they're ramping up the production. And Tesla has already run out of people in that 2 million reservation queue that want to buy it. As a matter of fact, there is no more reservation. You cannot make a reservation on a Cybertruck. You can just walk in and order one, and they'll make it. And I believe it can be available within a few weeks to you. So, and of course, at first I was like, all right, well, that's reasonable because people were reserving the Cybertruck at 40,000, and then they came out with the 60,000. Starting price. So once the price starts to come down, we'll see more people coming out from that reservation queue. But then, about 2 weeks ago, Tesla has raised the price. So the cheapest Cybertruck period is $100,000. And that's where they ran out of the people who want to buy them in that queue. So I'm seeing, and there's just so many little disasters that we're uncovering with the Cybertruck, and none of them so far of what I've predicted is going to be the disaster, which is going to be repairs, service, and the insurance costs. I think that's going to overlap everything, because a lot of trouble that Tesla is having with the truck, are fixable. Sooner or later they'll fix them, but there won't be, body shops that will decide to all of a sudden start working on cars with the exoskeletons made out of stainless steel. And Tesla is going to grow their network of service centers only as fast as they used to, probably, if not slower. So that's going to be a disaster. Number three, just a lot of decisions that Elon Musk made this year and last year that just go directly against his job as the CEO, which is make as much money as possible for the investors, and therefore, make sure that he's selling and firing the supercharger team. Is beyond. I mean, that usually a CEO would get fired, because if you talk to most Tesla owners, and I would agree with them, is that supercharging network is literally the best part of the car, even though it's not physically part of the car. But firing the team that's in charge of it, especially at the times when they need to not only keep up with their own demand, right, making more and more Teslas, but also now, and I think this is another bad decision, sharing the network with other electric vehicles. So there's less and less supercharger access per every 100,000 Tesla owners. I think that's going to come back to bite them. It's no longer, supercharging is no longer a unique proposition for Teslas. He's giving it away. I know Tesla will collect revenues, but it's going to be nothing compared like losing revenues to people buying other cars. The next one is the fact that there was yet another big order canceled on Tesla by this company is called Next Move. I believe they're in Germany. They were supposed to buy like 100 of Tesla, and they've canceled the order. They were citing the quality issues, but it also kind of came at the time when Elon started to really get cray, on social media. And another order, which hasn't been really canceled, but Hertz has lost a lot of money on the depreciation of all the Teslas they've purchased. They've reported how unhappy the people who were getting into them were, because it was hard to figure out something that from the very beginning. I told them, hey, listen, if you come back from a long trip and you want to get into your rental car and get to the hotel room and get some sleep, and now you don't even know how to turn your air conditioning vents on and how to run the mirrors and stuff like that, that's going to be a disaster. But the resale value is what did them in, and Hertz essentially ended up selling those cars at a huge loss. And I think this is one of the biggest losses they've had on a single manufacturer order. And I think there will be more of these. Let's move on to the next one. The next one is simply comments. Like I said, this is all data. This is none of my kind of thoughts. This is all data. I've never seen so many comments, not just for my videos, but under many other videos, people saying that I'm not going to buy a Tesla ever. Whether these are former Tesla owners or potential buyers who just decided against it. I've never seen so many people basically saying, oh, never Tesla. It used to be like, oh, I'm dreaming of Tesla. Tesla is my dream car. That's what we've been hearing for many, many years. And it was a dream car for a lot of people. And now it's a nightmare car for a lot of people who have never even owned them. Now, the next one, and before I tell you the big one, really, like everything else that I'm telling you right now is all peanuts compared to what I think is going to ruin Tesla sales and therefore stock this year. We're talking about, Elon keeps saying, robo-taxis, full self-driving, the full self-driving, I've always called it a scam. I believe it still is a scam, but the fact that they've now lost 3 heads of executives who've been running this and replaced them with no one, right? So the main guy, I think he quit. Instead of hiring someone else for him, they just gave the job to the second best guy that they had. And then when that guy quit, they gave it, to the third best guy that they had, right? So that was the third best guy running something that they've already admitted running into the ground once. They had to rewrite the core code, and now has been delayed as far as, what Elon has always promised, the full self-driving. And he left now, and nobody really replaced him. Elon, I guess, said that he's just going to do that, but we know he's not even running Tesla that much anymore. It's all about the Twitter and everything else. So, this event, I think the robotaxi event is just going to be another marketing Elon promises the world but not delivering on it event. If you look at the robot, the Tesla robot, it just went to this, I forget, I think it was somewhere here in Asia. There was a conference where everybody was presenting their robots, and they were doing this and that, and they were jumping and talking to people and interacting and playing chess with kids and all kinds of stuff. And Tesla's robot was behind the glass, I believe, doing nothing, because Tesla knows they cannot compete with what's actually happening in the robotics and AI field when it comes to robots. I think it's going to be more fluff. I don't think there's going to be anything to look at. I mean, Elon will probably say, well, yeah, these are the plans, and the robot, maybe unveil a weird-looking robotaxi or whatever. But the bottom line is they have not had any success getting, the level 4 working. I don't think they're going to have it with a third guy in line gone and not hiring anybody else who's smarter than him. And that's what Elon Musk is telling us to bet on, and I think people are going to start realizing that emperor has no clothes. But let me get to the biggest one. This is what made me think, oh my God, this is going to be bad. And what I think is going to be bad is the third quarter sales. Now, we've already seen the sales go down, right? Which is unbelievable for Tesla, especially with the Cybertruck in the mix. I mean, they've added a hot product, that people have been waiting for years, with 2 million people in the reservation queue, and their sales went down. I think this is this is telling. But I think what's going to happen is this. Elon endorsed Donald Trump. And, forget about Donald Trump. I know Donald Trump is just triggering for everybody, right? Forget about it. Let me just rephrase this. Elon has endorsed one of the presidential candidates in the country where there are only two choices, right? Especially now. So, and historically, people who've been buying Teslas are mainly liberal people, and they usually don't like Donald Trump. And now, where not only he's endorsed him, he created a PAC, which means that he'll probably be putting some money in towards his campaign. A lot of liberals say, I don't want to buy a Tesla anymore. I mean, essentially, my money is going to end up one way or another, if not supporting Donald Trump, then literally directly contributing to his campaign. And I don't want to support Donald Trump if I'm a liberal, so I'm not going to buy a Tesla. Or even without that thought, there's like, listen, Donald Trump is in the camp I don't like. Elon Musk is in the camp I don't like of Donald Trump. I'm a Democrat. I'm not going to buy Tesla from that guy. I think it was a huge mistake. I really think that, there's a good reason why, nobody, like CEOs, do not talk about their political beliefs. They don't reveal much. I believe in them. Tim Allen didn't reveal that he was gay for a while, right? So and now there is a study, right? There was actually a couple studies that basically show that the support from liberals for Tesla and likability of them buying, probability of them buying a Tesla, I believe fallen by threefold. And the data for Republicans have not moved at all. Like there were no Republicans, at least significant amount, that said, oh, now that he endorsed Donald Trump, I'm going to get myself a Tesla. So he hasn't gained anybody on the right, and he looks like he's losing people on the left. The sales are already declining. I believe the Cybertruck sales are going to get stagnant. The robotaxi thing is probably going to be nothing burger. But at the end of the day, it's not going to affect the sales, I believe. Yeah, I know. I say Tim Allen, I meant Tim Cook. I like Tim Allen much better. But yes, Tim Cooks. Thank you, Anthony. So it's really, by the way, just so you guys know, it's past midnight. Every time I do this stream is so people in California are already awake, but I am already asleep because it's past midnight here in Bangkok. Last time I went all the way till 4 o'clock in the morning, but somehow I wasn't confusing celebrities and Apple CEO. Anyway, so so not only these studies are showing this, it's just the numbers. The numbers are showing that the support that he threw behind one of the candidates is killing the sales. And by the way, 2 days ago, another indication that they are struggling to sell cars is the best referral program I remember from Tesla is back. So now, and it's a little more limited than it used to be. So it used to be if you use your referral code and somebody bought a Tesla using it, you will get $1,000 in credit and they will get $1,000 off, which is great. I actually sold so many of them back in the day that when I bought my next Tesla, I had so much credit, I ended up with like $200 monthly payment. By the way, that was for the Model S. There was no Model 3 at that time, I don't think. So I made a lot of money doing that. So that program is back, except for you get $500 instead of $1,000, though the person buying it will still get $1,000. And I think there's a limit to 10 customers. So people like me cannot run away with that. So, okay, fair enough. It's just another sign that the demand has fallen. And the same thing for the demand for FSD, right? The FSD was went all the way to 15,000 and then went down. I think it's at 7 or 8 right now. So that also tells you that not only they're making less money on FSD, less and less people want it because, as I mentioned before, more and more people realize that essentially it's a scam. Maybe the word scam does not appear in their brains, but they kind of saying, well, it's not full self-driving. What am I going to be paying for? And it sounds like there hasn't been any progress to go along with all the promises. So all of what I've just mentioned, including the fact, and honestly, the fact that he is stupid enough to endorse a presidential candidate on the opposite side of where most of his buyers are, or at least the majority. I think we're going to see the numbers. By the way, I'm going to absolutely make a video, most likely a live stream, once I see the sales results, because either I'm going to be right and I'm going to gloat, which I love doing, not going to lie, or I'm going to come on and say, you know what, I was wrong. I'm now going to look at Elon Musk differently. I'm going to look at him as a basically unbreakable, infallible man, like, for example, Donald Trump is, right? Like, Donald Trump could do anything he wanted, and he still got elected as a president, and still has in a close race now, right? And even a month ago, it looked like he was going to be the next president again, right? So he has done things that anybody else would have killed their, political career, and he only kept going and going and going, right? I'm going to be like, hey, that's what Elon Musk is now, right? Unbreakable. No matter what he does, says, no matter what his sales show, people will invest into his stock. So if you're joining me, you probably, you've heard my arguments for why I decided to short the Tesla stock. And again, not a financial advice at all. But unfortunately, as somebody who lives overseas, I am not able to. This is just not possible with the brokerage that I use. And I cannot sign up with other brokerages because when you live overseas, pretty much all of them don't want to take new clients who live overseas. So that is what essentially my thinking is. And you know what? We're not going to have to wait for that long to find out if I'm right or wrong. We have one more month to go, and we'll find out. And I'll make a video about it. By the way, before I go any further, thank you so much to Rob once again. This is crazy. $50 super chat. And like I said, if you want to know what $50 buy you here in Thailand, just multiply that number by 5. So it's like you just gave me $250 if I was in America. So, and this is the third time I think you've done it over the last month. And thank you. And you guys probably know that since I changed formats, and in general, the social media world is very different. I don't have sponsors really. I'm kind of living. I had sponsors in the beginning of the year, and I guess that was what made my money for the rest of the year. But besides what I get from the little ads before and during my videos, and of course contributions from awesome people like Rob, it's been a weird year. So thank you so much, Rob. This all goes into my mango sticky rice budget, which by the way is amazing here. One thing about Thai food here, because in America most Thai restaurants are owned by Thai people, and every single restaurant that I've gone to in America was owned by a real Thai person. The taste and the quality of how authentic the food is very similar. Like across the street from me here, there's a place that I eat pad Thai regularly, and it's a street food type of a hardcore Thai place. Doesn't taste that much different, better or worse, than the last restaurant that I used to frequent in Houston, Texas, and the restaurants before. Now, there's a lot of menu items here that you will see that you would not see in America, and a little bit the other way around. Like there's no mango chicken here, which is very common in America, but yes. All right, so let me start answering some of your, and I'm going to start up top. And once again, Rob, thank you so much. And I will start answering some questions. All right, so no left turns. We know who he's voting for. Says maybe in FSD solved, maybe in 5 years and 50 billion more. Yeah, so this is what I've been saying all along. They're not solving it fast enough. Yes, it's been improved more and more and more, but at the end of the day, they have the third smartest guy who was running it, and now he left. And it sounds like it's always been the same team of people who ran it into the ground once. And Elon being in charge is not helping because he's not in charge. I mean, he's just spread too thin. So that's that. Rick says, betting against Tesla, why not give your money to charity? You will lose it. This is my favorite negative energy EV channel. Yeah, okay, well, I will take that. Unfortunately, my negative energy is not so much my negative energy. It's just, unfortunately, I picked the job of of reporting on an electric car news and industry, which for years has been amazing and great and exciting and positive. And over the last couple of years, things have turned, quite poorly. As a matter of fact, there's another thing that I'm going to be doing with my channel. As you know, I've kind of switched to doing short videos, right? A couple of videos, I post them every day. I post 2 videos, and I genuinely tried, guys, being very positive, or at least somewhat positive. I just couldn't do it. I just couldn't do it. I remember, and I made a video about this as well. I remember somebody called me out. Many people called me out saying like, well, why don't you be positive? I said, you know what? Why don't you go as far back as 1 month and tell me how many positive stories that are appealing, not like this one guy, created this one possible, electric car battery that's going to last for 5 days, in his garage. No, like real positive stories. And I'll feature all of them. And so the guy came back with one positive story, and it was about a car that Chevy was going to make maybe in 5 years, and there's no pictures of it, or definitely not a video. So can't even make a video about it. So it's so I'm going to try something different. I'm working on a little documentary about the Cybertruck, which will literally just be talking about how did we get here, right? I won't put any of my opinion in it. I will just kind of walk you through the timeline, because I think a lot of people don't know some interesting details about the Cybertruck, and those of us who've kind of followed it forgot. Do you remember how here's a trivia question. Do you remember where the first image of the Cybertruck appeared and what it was? I think most people don't know. So that's going to be in my documentary, but it's going to be a mini documentary, like 10 minutes, right? And then I think I'm going to change the style of my videos a little bit. I'll make a few of them per week, but I think I'm going to put a little bit more effort into each one and do put a little bit more gems in that. We'll see how that goes. All right, so why not give my money to charity? Well, we'll find out. I might be, listen, if you want to buy the day that unfortunately I cannot short, but if people are shorting, you should buy that. You should buy it from them, right? And make, so the money won't go to charity, it will go to you, right? It's a free and open market, so I love it. By the way, these comments were submitted before I even went live. Roger says, I was a Tesla investor until Alex advised selling Tesla for Lucid and NIO. By the way, I never advised anything, and this video is also not advising. This is just my thoughts, and this is something that I wanted to do, but I can't. So this is for entertainment purposes. I've never advised anything, but maybe my reporting. And by the way, I don't even know how Lucid and NIO are doing. I love NIO. Oh my God, I love NIO. They're not here in Thailand, but NIO is literally my favorite electric car company. They have 2 technologies that I love the most, that I think every electric car should have, but doesn't. All right. Matthew says, just thought of something. Why do we structure investments based on quarters? Would it be possible to make it yearly or somehow more long-term? This would be to have long-term thinking for businesses. Well, actually, I don't know. This is how, it's not going to change, right? Like I said, I don't see any logic in a lot of stuff when it comes to investment. So I can't tell you. I really, if anything, I would like to see monthly reports, because some, companies do report it monthly, like NIO. I would like Tesla to report it monthly so people can make. As a matter of fact, I think that's better. Every company should report things weekly or monthly or daily, because if you're investing now, right? Like, for example, let's say you want to invest into Tesla right now. You don't know how they're doing after Elon, endorsed Donald Trump, which is a major event in the company's business, right? So you're kind of going in blind right now. You don't know if it affected sales. So I would suggest, Matthew, that it should be the other way around. All right. No Left Turn says shorting stock is for suckers. All right. Well, I don't know what to do with this, but I can tell you that I've never shorted stock. I really do think, I don't know about for suckers, but it's certainly, if I could outlaw shorting, I would. I think and I know it has nothing to do with stock, right? It has to do with sort of financial arrangement behind it. But I would make it illegal if it was up to me, because the stock market, American stock market at least, or any country stock market, should be for encouraging businesses to do better, make more money, which means advanced technology and so forth, and just overall stock market and economy of the country. Allowing people to essentially make money betting against these companies, I think it's American, right? But it's allowed. Reniter 229. Tesla is a father of meme stocks. Don't short meme stocks. Like I said, I don't even know what that means. I'm not at all participating or want to participate in an investment world. It is. I don't understand it. V-Ting says you need a target and a stop loss even when you're shorting a stock. Yeah, no, okay, I see what you mean. Yeah, so, I was going to basically, buy whatever the price is. I was going to wait. I was going to, as soon as I was, because you have to apply to do margins, right? So as soon as I got approved, I was hoping to get approved. I was just going to do it. And I think my stop would have been, well, so there's a couple of ways you can stop, right? You can do it percentages, or you can do it at number of months. So I would I would probably just do a week. Okay, so let me backtrack. Here's what I was going to do. I was going to buy it right before they were going to announce, or even speculations would start. So maybe like a week before they announced the deliveries. And then I would, put a stop on it at 3 days, let's say, after the official quarterly results. So I think that would have been my timeline. FX says nothing burger so far. We'll keep buying. Okay, all right, that's great. I mean, I think it's against all logic. You're buying stock of a company where the CEO is literally working against best interests of his company, but okay, sure. Like I said, it's your money. Tad Shaw says Tesla is not an automotive stock. It is a technology company that makes some electric cars as part of its product line. Yeah, we've heard that story, and it's a wonderful story, but it's bullshit. And by the way, okay, fine. Even if we go with that story, it sure is a shitty technology company then, because this technology company says that they can do full self-driving, and we can clearly see they cannot. You know what I mean? So it's like if Apple would be claiming that they are a mobile device company, and the iPhones would lose internet connection every other hour. I think that would be the equivalent, I think, analogy. Now, funny story. I actually lived in Cupertino, right next to Cupertino, California, next to the Apple headquarters when they released an iPhone. And I was also one of the first iPhone users to buy it. And the funny part is that you could only get it on AT&T network at that time. That was like an exclusive deal. And AT&T signal was awful in Cupertino. So a lot of times you would have an iPhone and you could make a phone call with an iPhone literally standing across the street from Apple headquarters. So that was ironic. Man, where was TikTok when back then? That video would have been, that would have made me rich, I think. This channel hasn't and won't, but I think that video would have. So yeah, okay, sure, you can call them technology company, but they're not really good at technology, especially the full self-driving technology. So, all right. Rob says, libs have the right to not buy, but they're just not rational in many ways, not just with cars. I support Elon, even though it does affect the stock. So here's the thing. I actually think it's quite rational. I mean, think about it, okay? If you're a liberal, if you're a Democrat, you don't like Donald Trump, right? We can agree on that, right? So now imagine if you're a Democrat and you're thinking, okay, I'm going to buy I'm not butthurt that the guy who's running the company is, supporting the candidate I don't like. Okay, I'm okay with that. But I know when I'm giving money to Tesla, when I'm buying a car, a big part of it goes to Elon Musk. Now, Elon Musk takes it and then, essentially finances support for Donald Trump in many different ways, right? First of all, you're kind of giving him little by little money back for him, buying Twitter and now using that platform, to promote Donald Trump. One of the things he's done was let Donald Trump back. Now Donald Trump is actually promoting himself on Twitter, right? He has created the PAC. I mean, he has created the organization that's supposed to be donating money into a political campaign. So I expect that to kick in at some point. So, if you're liberal, you have it's quite logical and rational to feel like if you're giving money to Elon Musk, you're in one way or another contributing to promoting and electing Donald Trump, which you don't want to do if you're a Democrat. So, and listen, stop listening to don't take my feelings don't even take my opinion in consideration. Go look at the survey. I believe there are 2 surveys now that were conducted independently and show, which again, I didn't need them to do the survey for this to make sense, but they show that people who are more liberal or registered Democrats, their support and desire to buy a Tesla from Elon Musk has fallen significantly. So you can say, libs, but you essentially, you got to rely on data. And data so far shows that there's going to be a big drop in sales. Huge. All right. Paul T says the reason sales are down. Oh, God, is there going to be another excuse? But let's keep reading. The reason sales are down is the whole EV market has gone down as Tesla has the largest market share. They're most affected. It's interest rates and general macro that is. Listen. The market has gone down, and usually who suffers from it are luxury brands. And luxury brands, like, for example, even Lucid, right? Lucid and Rivian, they're selling nothing but luxury EVs, and they're selling more than they did last year. So that is an indication so that it's not something that's just kind of following the market. And like I said, did you hear what I said? I'll say it again. Tesla is the only EV maker in America who sells cars in America, electric cars in America, whose electric car sales have gone down year over year, in the last few months, at least when they were reporting this, than any other company. Everybody else is up. So, the EV market has gone down, but it's, by the way, that's not even, I don't know why I even accepted that bullshit premise. No, there are numbers for that. The electric car market has gone up. I believe at least July numbers were that it was 16% year over year over last year. So the market has gone up. Now, if they didn't count Tesla, the market would have gone up 50% or something crazy like that, electric car market. But Tesla has dragged it down because they're in the negative. They're the only ones in the negative. So, you can make excuses all you want. By the way, you do understand that Tesla Cybertruck is supposed to add to those sales. So, and yet, even with the added sales from the Cybertruck, overall the sales have gone down, which means the Model Y and Model 3 sales have gone down even further than what we're seeing because, the Cybertruck is saving some face there. So I'm sorry, but all numbers, all data point at the fact that no, it's not the whole market or whatever. The whole market is fine. It is Tesla. All right, next one. Jim B. Fish says, I think there is a massive Osborne effect with regards to the Model 3 and Model Y, but I agree with your point about the Cybertruck. I still think the design was massive blunder. It's not just the design. I mean, just a lot of other things. If they built an F-150, they would have been crushing it. Oh, I agree. I just made a video about, and I also talked about it on the last live stream because somebody said, well, you talk shit about Tesla all the time. What would you do if you were CEO of Tesla? And one of the things that I would have done immediately would discontinue the Cybertruck, eat whatever shit is going to come, with it, support and whatever, and then actually design and start making a regular, normal pickup truck that people would want to buy. People who are truck people would want to buy. The businesses that need trucks would want to buy, because that's not what's happening right now, and it's not going to happen. Now, I'm going to admit that you guys are going to have to explain to me what the Osborne effect is, and then I'll get back to that. Um, let's see. That's right, Tim Apple. I screwed up with the name. Um, Anthony says, "Do you think the Roadster or the $25,000 model is still a reality?" Actually, funny. I just talked to Kim, Java Kim, literally an hour before the live stream because she saw my video that I made as a reaction to her video, where she was saying like, "Hey, we have 2 free Roadsters that we've earned by selling Teslas, and we're not getting it. And if we would have taken that money, back then, we would have already had like millions of dollars." So Tesla kind of owes us millions of dollars, and the Roadster, I think they will make it. I mean, will it be as awesome as they're promising with a SpaceX? I mean, there will be a SpaceX package just because he can't back out of it. But is it going to fly? It's not going to fly. And again, it's not going to be that amazing because there are already other brands that have outdone the Roadster anyway. There's a Cybertruck here. I actually saw one in real life the other day. I made a video about it because I just came out of my apartment complex and there was a MG Cybertruck, one of the first 100 delivered in Thailand. And, that one is at $70,000. And by the way, the doors go up. Like, people love the doors going up. The Roadster's got to get the doors going up, the Tesla one. So I think they'll make it. The $25,000 model, no. By the time they will come around making that, $25,000 is going to be even less possible because of inflation, because of the prices going up, and I don't think so. I mean, it's hard to guess, especially long term with Elon, because what can happen is Elon will finally, I think what's going to happen is the beginning of the disaster will start with a disastrous sales in Q3. The stock will follow. And at some point, the investors will start bailing or saying, "Hey, listen, you need to put someone else in charge," like he does with SpaceX, like he did with Twitter. Hire a real CEO who can run this full time and that people can deal with. And I think sooner or later, Elon will be forced to do that. And then we will see what the new CEO will decide. If the new CEO will decide that, $25,000 car is something they want to do because, there is a lot of competition. I mean, we have the BYD Dolphins running around. Today I came back from this faraway province in Bangkok, took a train with no air conditioning for like 3 hours. It's far, okay? You really have to want to get there to take a train in Thailand with, at 100 degrees outside, for 3 hours to get there. But, I ordered an Uber, it's called Grab here, and BYD Dolphin showed up in that city that, had chickens and stray dogs running around everywhere, And then I ordered it today. The same lady in BYD Dolphin showed up. So, they might say, yeah, that's reasonable, so let's do it. So, yeah, I think this is going to be a decision made by the new Tesla CEO, if I'm right about what's happening. All right, R says, okay, well, this is just name calling, I think, and it's not even me. I don't mind when people name call, but Rob says, "Alex, have you driven with the latest FSD?" No, of course I haven't, because we don't have a latest FSD here in Thailand, but I don't need to jump off of the bridge to know it's not going to end very well for me. I rely, by the way, that's another thing that people go like, "Well, have you done it?" Okay, listen, even if I would have done it right now, my FSD experience would have been just my FSD experience, one person. That doesn't mean shit, okay? What does mean shit is that 100,000 people using FSD in their situations, on their roads, with their hands and with their eyes. And that's when we have a better data. And we have quite a few people, a lot of times these are big. You have to be a pretty big Tesla fan to have a Tesla and then pay a ridiculous amount of money for full self-driving. That's not full or self-driving. So mainly it's the big Tesla fans who are making these videos. And even then, there's tons of them. And I'm just about to, or did I already do that? Yeah, I think I'm just about to post one where, the latest version, the guy, the fan, takes it out for the ride and it does a lot of stupid shit. So I don't need to do it myself. Even if I was able to, it would mean absolutely nothing to you guys as far as me reporting on what's happening in Tesla world and electric car world. Mr. R says Elon has almost killed the EV market in America. He needs to step down or get fired. Agree with the second part, and I've been saying that, and I think a lot of people have been saying this for quite a few years now, that he does need to step aside. I don't think Elon can kill the EV market anymore. I mean, there's too many electric vehicles on the market. If Tesla stopped making electric cars today, the electric market will be fine. Yes, Matthew says that I got ads in my live stream. Yeah, that's the only way I'm making money right now. I'm sorry, guys. I mean, that's I will. The Volkswagen doesn't want to sponsor me anymore. I wonder why. Tell one truth about Volkswagen and they run away with all of their money. So yeah, sorry, but All right. PC says I think EV sales will pick up again after the election. Period. Everyone, were you dictating on your phone after the election? Everyone is holding their breath to see what's going on happening financially, and the election is a big impact on it. Period. Well, I also made a video about that, and actually it was a live stream, right? Yeah, I did a live stream on it. Who's better for electric cars, Kamala Harris or Donald Trump? And my honest opinion, it really doesn't matter. I just, whether you take the incentives or not take the incentives, at the end of the day, it's going to make no difference. I think the electric cars are here to stay. Yes, they're having some trouble, as they should, because the execution has been shit. But a lot of companies are figuring things out. Like, you can see a lot of negative stuff going on, but you can also see some positive stuff that's just not exciting. Not exciting to put it out in the article or video, but like GM has kind of figured things out, right? They actually make it. Tom Malogny is going to come on this live stream again, and I think we're going to talk about it because he bought a Chevy Blazer EV, right? So Ford kind of has figured it out, and you can see the numbers. Hyundai, Kia, and Genesis are their number 2 electric car sale in America. I made a video about that. I was stunned, to be honest with you. So the electric cars are here to stay, and I think there will be there is still growth in electric car sales. It's just not as big as it was over the last few years. And I think the election is not going to make any difference, honestly. I don't think. Okay, I don't even know. I like watermelons, misspelled. Okay. Hey, what EV would you recommend to someone who wants a cheap EV with 250 miles of range on it? Okay, so, people ask me this question all the time. I'm hesitant to recommend an electric car for you. It's kind of like if you would have asked me what girl I recommend you marry. I mean, I need to know so much more about you to give you good advice that I can't just, cheap EV with 250 miles. I mean, just list all of the EVs in the order of their price and then see how many of them have 250 miles. And by the way, even that, do you need actual 250 miles? Because if you do, then EPA would need to be over 300 miles. But if you need 250 EPA miles, well, then your choices are much bigger, but then you will only probably get about 200 miles out of that. So even that, I can't answer, right? And would you consider a used electric car? Then you have some choices, including the ID4. And you know how I feel about that. So it's hard to recommend, right? Just like with women. Do you like tall girls, short girls, fat girls, thin girls, black girls, white girls, Thai girls? I'm starting to really getting into Thai girls, which before I really wasn't because there weren't that many around in America. So yeah, I really need to know much more. Do you want it to be an SUV? Do you want it to be a 4-door sedan? It's just so hard to recommend. But it's only you who can research. And by the way, research is not that hard. Just there's a list. I think Car and Driver does that, or Cars.com do that, where you just have a full list of all electric cars and their mileage, and you can just and then look at the price. But I think I really need to know much more than what you already disclosed. And I don't even know if you're in America, because there are different choices in Europe, and here in Asia is completely different choices, right? We have tons of amazing Chinese cars for definitely within your budget. Okay, Lucid is going down. I don't know what to do with that. Oh, and my Google Assistant just said, did I trigger my Google Assistant for some reason? Oh, another technology company that's not good at technology, unfortunately. Yeah, so explain to me what you mean by that. To me, they're doing pretty good. Captain Chuck says, so the Cybertruck I have ordered will not be ready until 2026. The only one they're offering is the Beast and the Family. No, that one, it seems right now, the way they, that's the thing. Tesla doesn't have any PR department, and they suck at communicating. Their way to communicate with the world is, Elon Musk tweeting shit out, So, but as far as most journalists are concerned, which when we're relying on their sales page, right? Tesla.com/Cybertruck, and you can go there right now. It looks like all of the trims that they're going to be offering from now on are not going. That's all. That's what they're offering. So whatever you offer, whatever you ordered, may not be available ever. And by 2026, So I don't know. I mean, we've gone over this with Model 3, with Model Y, and if I were you, I would just get my money back and go with something that actually exists. Paul T says, if you want to ban shorting, why were you going to short? Talking out of both sides of your mouth again. Now, yeah, there's two different things. One, what I would do in a perfect world if I was God, and what I would do in a non-perfect world where I live in that I have no control over. You know what I mean? So these are not mutually exclusive things. I'm just saying that I'm allowed to take advantage of things that are allowed, right? Even though I think they shouldn't be allowed. I mean, we do it all the time. All right. If it doesn't make sense, let me know. I can explain a little bit more. Mr. R says shorting a stock is just a form of extreme capitalism. If you want cappy, what that is. You go to live with all aspects, not pick and choose. Yeah, no, listen, I would agree with that. Yeah, I mean, shorting stock, essentially, it's not so much a stock market move, but a finance move, right? And I'm just saying, I'm just talking about in a perfect world if I was the king. And that's not gonna happen. No matter how many letters I write to Santa Claus. Okay, Rob Miller says, I think short term is it could be a good investment to short. Long term, not so much. I have been in for many years. Thank you, Tesla. Didn't Bill Gates short at 50 million? So I don't know what I know Bill Gates have shorted, but like I said, I've never shorted any stock. I've never been confident into investing into any stock except for Tesla, and I was right. The only time I've ever played with a stock, it was a Tesla, and I was completely right to invest money into it. And I think this is the second time when I am confident about what's going to happen with the stock. And once again, it is Tesla, except for now, unfortunately, it's the other way around. Rick says, if you're going to short, use option puts. You can do a spread, sell calls. Listen, I cannot do it. That's the thing. I wanted to do it. I cannot. I live overseas, so my brokerage does not allow that. Rob Miller says, they loved Elon until he showed his hand, just like Trump. That's not rational. That's hateful. Well, so here's the thing. If you are a CEO of a publicly traded company or just run your own business, there are some good things you can do for the company and some bad things you can do for the company. This is a bad thing that he did for the company, right? Showing your hand is, as a matter of fact, not showing your hand is part of your job. Because as you know, people get hurt over everything. So if the CEO of the company they're buying products from, it doesn't like the same color as some of the customers, they won't buy from the company. Everybody knows that. That's the world we're living in. And so when Elon Musk decided to just bluntly endorse one of the presidential candidates, that is literally a fireable offense of any CEO. And obviously, because he's got the board in his pocket, The only way he'll get fired is if the sales will go down because of that. The data will show it's because of his stupidity. The stock will go down, and at some point, investors will be like, listen, give us a new CEO, or we're really going to damage the stock by selling, right? Let's see. Toby says, why am I watching any more entertainment value? I guess. Yeah, like I said, listen, it's ridiculous that everybody on YouTube and everybody has to say, well, this is for entertainment purposes only. I'm not a professional investor. Please don't, buy stock. It goes badly for you and you're going to sue me, a guy on your YouTube screen, for giving you bad advice. Like, it's unbelievable that it's even a possibility. But like I said, it all started with a lady spilling the hot coffee into her lab and suing the company for coffee being hot. And by the way, I know a lot of people say, no, but you really need to understand the facts. I researched that case. Bullshit. Anyway, Elon Musk hasn't been paid by Tesla since 2018. It depends on what you mean by paid. As far as salary, yeah, most CEOs don't get paid much by their companies. If they're publicly traded companies, they all make their money through stock. And my goodness, Elon has made a lot of money on Tesla stock. Mr. Ross says, for the lack of a better term, I'm a liberal and I could buy a Tesla, but due to the fact they have shitty support, Elon lies as much as Trump. Bad parts market, no real education for tech outside of Tesla. So yeah, listen, here's the thing. Before he announced his support for Trump, all of those things already had people not buying Tesla. By the way, I'm the original turn on Tesla guy. I bought my Tesla in 2012. Then I bought another Tesla, and I bought another Tesla. And at some point, I realized, oh, I don't like the quality. I hate the customer support. The parts distribution sucks. So whenever I got in even a small car accident, sometimes my car would be in a shop for many, many months, and I would have to drive a gas car, and insurance wouldn't cover it past 1 month, right? So, and yes, I cannot trust the CEO anymore. So there's a lot of things have happened before his support for a presidential candidate that was already sinking the sales. This whole thing is on top of that. And I think at some point, the stock will start following the reality. Let's see, you guys talking to yourself. Dan says, they've had 7 years for the Roadster since Elon announced they were already making it. Yeah, I know. He lied about that as well. What do you want me to say? Listen, I got 70% off of the Roadster. So I want the Roadster to be made because I can buy it, get 70% off, and then either resell it or Turo it or import it here to Thailand. But, I'd love for them to make it. Yes, he lied about a lot of things. I don't know what other CEO gets away with that type of stuff without losing his job or having the stock go down. And we'll find out. Like I said, I'll be the first one to admit, if the car sales hold, if the stock holds, I'll be like, okay, this guy's bulletproof. He does not live in the same world as we do because he can do whatever he wants and things will still work out for him, just like with Donald Trump. And I will admit it. I'll be like, okay, Elon Musk is just very different. Rick says, how long do you believe it will be before we see solid state available for purchase? Well, I think Nissan today announced that they're also making their new car with solid state batteries. I mean, it's a bit of a blurry name for the technology. I know you can call solid state a lot of things that it technically may not be, but gee. I mean, does it count if Pininfarina has 100 cars made in 1 year with a solid state battery? I would not count that, right? So we're probably talking about mass production. I would say 3 to 5 years. They are getting closer. I don't see any major barriers where they need to have a major breakthrough to get there. It seems like all of the solid state battery technology is being developed at the normal pace as the new technology gets developed. So I think they'll be there very soon. But in production, 3 to 5 years, I would say. An educated guess on my part. Rob says your issue with Elon is that he speaks his mind, or you don't think he is qualified to run Tesla or any other company. Well, the latter is a result of the former, right? I don't mind people speaking their mind, but he is the CEO of of the company, and when he speaks his mind, he ends up offending people, right? And he knew he would, or making people feel like they don't want to give him the money because essentially he's just funneling them to into support for the candidate they don't like. So yeah, you can speak your mind, and then by doing that, knowingly damage the company you're running and screw the investors that put their trust in you. Though at this point, why? And therefore, you're not qualified to run Tesla. I mean, he's still qualified to run other companies. I mean, I'm assuming SpaceX is fine, Boring Company is fine, Neuralink, all of those companies. I don't. If I was an investor in that company, I wouldn't think that he needs to be fired. But for Tesla, absolutely. And like I said, we'll see who's right, who's wrong in the next year, in the next month or two. Rob says he seems to be exceptionally qualified to me. I admire people to stick to their beliefs like you, Alex. Yeah, but listen, let me put it this way. There are a lot of things that I want to say on the internet about other issues. As you know, I'm a passport bro. I moved from America away from the dating scene, away from feminism, away from all of that new dating modern woman bullshit, okay? Now, I know I've been probably more vocal than I should be, about those issues, but believe you me, I have not said anything close to what I really think about what happened to modern women in America and men in America. I guarantee you that if I would really speak my mind about what's really happening in America, and I see it coming here now, boy, I would be canceled so quick in this industry. I mean, your head would spin. So no, I mean, I speak my mind, but I also don't want to damage my brand. I've chosen to be an influencer in the field of electric cars, and my other opinions on other subjects should not derail that. There are plenty of people who have taken my advice on what kind of electric car to buy. There are plenty of brands who've trusted me to promote their products and probably will in the future. I don't want to, kind of derail that by blabbing my mouth about all kinds of issues that have nothing to do with electric cars, knowing that the cancel culture is here and I can lose the trust and my voice in the electric car community. Now, if I ever decide to stop doing this channel, and believe you me, I've thought about it before, yeah, my new channel will be about modern dating. And my goodness, I'm not even going to bother applying for monetization on any platform because it will be taken away very quickly. Because my opinions are going to be considered, not well received in the headquarters of YouTube, Google, Facebook, and so forth. So yeah, I speak my mind, but I also don't when I think it damages my voice in the industry that I picked to have a voice in. But like I said, Rob, I think he's not qualified because he is working against you, the investor, and that's his job. Pissing off half of the potential customers, even by that's not doing your job. That's working against the company. Chandler. Oh, I miss Chandler. Chandler says Elon is a good salesman, overpromising and under-delivering. That's actually sounds about right. The good, if you think about it, that's what a good salesperson is, right? For a company, not for the consumer. And under-delivering while charging twice as much. Yep. I'm an initial investor, but I don't support treason nor dishonesty. I don't know what that is. Twitter X was proven to be a Russian slush fund. By the way, I like the fact that Elon bought Twitter, and that you can say a lot of stuff you can't say on other social media. I think that's like, for example, I don't believe that Andrew Tate or Donald Trump should have ever been banned from the platform. Like, people say much worse shit on that platform than them. And at the end of the day, let people decide what is good and what's not good for them. Stop protecting people from their stupid brains. Oh, Donald Trump told me to do this, so I did this, and everyone's personal responsibility is no longer a thing in America. So that's why. But I like that. I like that he actually, I wouldn't say it's freedom of speech because he has, blocked and banned people who were critical of him, which is not really a freedom of speech, but it's much more free than other platforms. And I do like that. And I do like the fact that he fired 90% of Twitter. I think almost every Silicon Valley company needs to have 90% of their people fired because they're not doing anything and they're not qualified to work there. So I like that. So I like quite a few things that he's done with Twitter. And yeah, you're right. Now we're realizing that they were being dishonest about a lot of things. Like, remember Twitter banned people who were suggesting that COVID was, what was the claim that they really didn't like and banned it? That it was created in a lab in China, right? And then turned out to be that a lot of scientists came out and say, guys, there's a good evidence that it was created in a lab in China. So yeah, let's see what's next. Maddie, can you give us some info about million mile battery? No, I can't. Nobody can. What do you mean by million? You mean from Tesla? Then no. I mean, at this point, stop believing everything that Tesla and Elon Musk says. Stop it. So there's nothing to be said about a $1 million battery. I don't even know what the definition of that would be. An electric car battery that goes 1 million miles without any degradation, it will never happen, ever. And it doesn't really need to. Charles says, don't forget that Elon will need to fund X, and that may include, in my honest opinion, most likely he'll sell Tesla shares in 2025 to do so. That's where I'd close my short. Oh, I see what you mean. Well, my short was all going to be about this quarter, which I think is going to be the most disastrous and unexpected for a lot of people for some reason, a fall in sales. That's why I wasn't going to short for too long. And by the way, don't forget you have to pay like finance charges on your short, right? Because you're borrowing money essentially. I bought an M3, which used to mean a BMW, but now I'm gonna assume you mean the Tesla Model 3. I bought a Tesla Model 3 and my delivery date keeps getting pushed back every week. What the fuck? Well, I'll tell you what the fuck. You fucking decided to buy a Tesla in 2024 after people like me and told you what the trouble is going to be with your Tesla, 1 million of them. And you didn't even have to rely on me. I mean, I guess I'm just a collection of shit that goes wrong with Tesla, being reported, and because nobody else wants to do it. But there's plenty of, I run Tesla EV owner groups, like Tesla Model 3, Tesla Model Y, Tesla Model S, and the Cybertruck. I have, and it's got tens of thousands of members. Altogether, my groups have over 500,000, no, 250,000. I'm not good with numbers this late in a day. 250,000 members. So you can go there and see what trouble people are having with the Model 3. I honestly, genuinely don't understand why. Stop being surprised by being fucked over by Tesla. Okay, Paul T says they're just selling the higher trim Cybertruck while they can. Their reservation list for lower trims intact, but on hold as too many orders already. Paul, bullshit on both counts. First of all, 200,000 reservations is too many because essentially, even if Tesla was to ramp it up at the way they wanted to, it would have taken over 2 years to satisfy that. So why would you be taking reservations for 2-3 year long venture or adventure for some of them, right? It makes no sense. They stopped taking reservations because nobody wants to make a reservation anymore. That's why. But don't tell me how, 2 million, right? Why 2 million? Because technically 2 million reservations should have lasted for, 10 years. That's an unreasonable number to stop at. So please, stop being an apologist for a shitty CEO. And no, they're not just selling the higher Cybertruck trim. they've already announced, go to their page right now, they've already announced what trims they're going to sell moving forward. And and they've discontinued the one that was for 60,000, and the one was for 80,000. They raised the price, and now it's 100,000. Like, pay attention, man. That's not what's happening in reality. I don't know. You can probably buy Tesla Q ETF instead of shorting the stock directly. Actually, that would be kind of cool. That would be awesome. That's funny. Paul says Elon is too honest. He cannot hide his feelings. Well, you know what? Then he's not qualified to be a CEO if he cannot control his feelings as a man in his 50s who is the CEO of a company and many other companies. He does not mean to lie. He's just too optimistic by far, but gets shit done eventually. There is literally a spreadsheet, publicly available Google spreadsheet online, where you can see all of the promises that he's made, that he continues to break, and some of them are already gone into years and years and years, and they probably will never, actually be completed. So that is not like it used to be. Like, yeah, Elon promises, but he always ends up delivering with some optimistic deadlines, but that's no longer true either. Yeah. SS. I don't know why you would go with that username, but SS. I'm a Democratic voter. I wanted to buy a Model X, but Elon's childish behavior made me and a number of my colleagues reconsider Tesla, getting a Rivian. Well, there you go. The only thing you didn't mention was that his specific endorsement of Donald Trump, because then it doesn't really matter if you're a Democratic voter or not. If you just turn off by his behavior or the quality of the cars or whatever, that's probably is bipartisan. But I'm wondering if you or any of your colleagues decided to get a different electric car specifically because he endorsed Donald Trump. I hear you. I agree. Believe me, says Rob. I have many businesses and I live in California. Wait, aren't you a conservative? I am not a conservative. I am an independent, and I got the fuck out of California. I literally moved my company to Nevada. So, okay. So I fly under the radar. Like you, I try to measure what I say openly. Yeah. Yep. Rick says the writing was on the wall with Tesla Elon when he did that CNBC interview where he told David Faber, that he didn't care what money he would lose for what he says. Well, but people say that and lie about that too, right? Okay. Off the Shelf Ride says, not an Elon fan, but if it wasn't for Tesla and Mercedes keeping Tesla alive, that's right, a lot of people don't know that, EVs wouldn't be this far along right now. Tesla needs a change, though, or they will be the modern day BlackBerry. I don't think they'll end up modern day BlackBerry, but they need a change. No, listen, no doubt, without Tesla, probably there would be no electric car revolution. This guy would certainly not be a YouTuber into his 40s, for sure, Let's see, you guys talking to yourself. Okay, RU says, born and raised from Sacramento here. Oh, I have a house in Sacramento still, and I lived in Sacramento for several years, almost 5 years before I moved to Texas for a little bit, and then now to Thailand. So Sacramento, there's some great things about the place and some really shitty things about the place. But okay. Former Tesla worker laid off in April. Sorry to hear that. Next time I visit Bangkok again, I'll hit you up and buy a Chiang Mai beer. Love your content. Keep it up. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. Anybody who visits Bangkok is welcome to get, at the very least, some advice from me of how to live here or how to visit. I think a lot of people don't know how to travel. They don't know how to visit other countries. They end up having a touristy experience. That's essentially whatever country you go into, they've created their little place for like whatever their idea of what America is or should be, like mini Las Vegas, and people end up never actually visiting a country. People would tell me, look, oh yeah, I've been to Mexico many times in my Mexican culture. Yeah, where have you been? Oh, Puerto Vallarta. Okay, that's not Mexico. No. Just like when people come here and they go to like Soy Cowboy, whatever they saw in a Hangover 2, and they're like, yeah, I've been to Thailand. I'm like, you have not been to Thailand. I've been to Thailand today. I went to a province where like chickens are running around and people are living amazing lives, and there's nature and amazing palm trees and all that stuff, and that's real Thailand. But here, where most people end up hanging out, not really. But I would be more than happy to. The only thing you cannot buy me any type of beer, because I don't drink alcohol. Definitely a birth defect since I was born in Russia. But I will take a Thai iced tea for sure. Love Thai iced tea. Robert OG3 says, if you go to any vehicle forum, you will always see reported problems. That is true. That absolutely is true. But the problems that are being reported on Tesla forums and some other, but specifically Tesla forums, are very unique to Teslas, right? That you won't see on other forums because, other companies, a Ford CEO doesn't say something and ends up lying or not delivering. Like, that is not something how the world operates outside of Tesla. So that's why it's a little different. Also, the technologies are not like, for example, there is no FSD to deal with when it comes to other forums for other models. My car was stuck in the service department in a body body repair department because there are no parts, because they're trying to make more cars to make profits. That's not a common story outside of Tesla. That has happened, but not as much at all. This is why insurance has gone up on Tesla a lot, because a lot of these fees are storage fees and car rental fees that insurance companies have to pay while Tesla owners waiting for parts. Now that has gotten much better, but wait until Tesla Cybertruck starts getting into that. That's what's going to skyrocket the prices, because like I said, you won't be able to go to independent body shop like you did with Tesla, even though a lot of independent body shops didn't want to have anything to do. They did not want to get certified by Tesla. They have and there's less and less of them that do now. But wait until there are no independent body shops working on the exoskeleton and specifically stainless steel. Like, wait until those fees are going to add up, while only Tesla body shops having to deal with that. Let's see. Let's see, you guys talking to each other. Rob says, Alex, to clarify, I live in Henderson and moved from Sacramento, and yes, I'm a conservative. Holy crap, Rob. I lived in Sacramento, and I also bought a house that I lived in on the border of Henderson, Silverado Ranch. I'm sure you know that's right on the border. And I used to like fly back and forth. I spent half of my time in Sacramento, half of my time in Las Vegas. I ended up saying Las Vegas is not for me, mainly because it's really just like, unless you're on a strip, which you don't want to be, it is a very boring town. And my dating life was even worse. I kind of thought like, all the pretty girls that, end up moving to Las Vegas for the cocktail waitress jobs and then get real jobs or whatever. Oh, there will be so many. And I was like, oh God, no. I only see pretty girls while I'm at the casino. I never seen them out and about in regular coffee shops or whatever, or dating sites. So I recently, actually 3 months ago, I sold that house that I bought. Whoever got it's got brand new charging stations in there and everything. All right, let's see. Yeah, well, Rob, you're a conservative. I don't remember what I was referring to when I asked you about that, but I thought you were. Well, I was going to ask you some more personal. I was wondering if you would vote for Donald Trump. I don't want you to disclose that. That's fine, because there are some conservatives that either don't want to vote for Donald Trump or they vote for Donald Trump because they don't like the other side more, but they're really supporting Donald Trump, but it doesn't really matter. Let's see. Okay, Mark says, why don't you ever have strong opinions on Russia? I absolutely do. Listen, I have strong opinions on a lot of things, but it doesn't mean I need to blur it out, especially on the electric car channel. Now, I don't mind telling you my views on Russia. Would you like me to? Let me know what views I want to. Let me put it this way. I was born in Russia. I still have very few relatives and connections in Russia. I speak Russian fluently. I read Russian fluently, no problem. Russia has a lot of amazing places to go, from nature to the architectural wonders in St. Petersburg. I would love to go back to the suburban house I used to live in and see if it's even there. But I haven't been to Russia ever since coming to America in 1992, which means 32 years now. So does that tell you what I think about Russia? If you are going to ask me about the Ukrainian conflict, I think I don't even know what to say. It is absolutely this is going to be considered a war crime, and Putin is going to go down as one of the most brutal dictators. I mean, probably in the same group as Hitler, but not as much, obviously. He hasn't killed as many people, but he's getting very close in terms of what he does. Is that enough? Let me know. I have no problems telling you what I think about Russia. It's just never really, it's never really, never came up. But there you go. Now you know. Okay, Robert OG3 says, I lived on your street in Sacramento. How do you know which street I lived in? Actually, you don't even know if I lived in my own house or if I rented that and lived in another place. But okay, what street did you live on in Sacramento? But yeah, well, it doesn't really matter because I don't live there anymore. Either way, so Gasdorfic Muncher. Excellent username. Tesla screwed up. No 39,000 Cybertrucks. Well, okay, to be fair, nobody, not Ford, not GM, nobody else who advertised a $40,000 pickup truck, I believe Rivian was also advertising some, has come up with one, and they never will. For many reasons, right? The prices have skyrocketed. The average car price in America is like pretty much $50,000 right now. That has skyrocketed. So that's why. But when you're advertising something for 40,000 and you end up selling it for 50-something thousand, inflation, car prices going up. Okay. But when you advertise something for 40,000 and the cheapest one you're selling is 100,000, that's where they screwed up. But I also think if the product would have been what's promised, right? Tesla could have said, well, yeah, but we told you for 40,000 you'll only get like 300 miles of range, but this one has 500 or 600 miles of range. Well, now it's worth more. I would agree, right? But it's not going to happen. But I think the problem with the Cybertrucks is definitely price is huge. I don't want to dismiss that. You're absolutely right. But I think there are other bigger problems that are affecting it. I wonder, what would you even accept for a $40,000 Cybertruck, right? What would be the range? 200 miles? Would that be okay? If they would have figured something out and or will in the future and sell this for 40,000 or even 50,000, then I think it would still continue to be a hit, but not the way it is right now. Mark says, fair enough. What few Russian YouTubers I've seen tend to not criticize Putin. Well, I think it's because they live in Russia and he will kill them. I used to watch Toy Soy. I don't know who that is. And he's a Russian scientist living in Sweden that never talked about Russia. So I guess there's another thing is that if you are, here's the thing. If you talk politics and you're Russian, you kind of got to, and you got to talk about Russia, right? I don't talk politics in general. This is a electric car channel. I have made comments here when people ask me about my personal life, dating and stuff like that. And I've been a guest on multiple, relatively big dating podcasts. But that's why I talk about dating outside of, or moving outside of the United States, and living in a different country. So I've talked about that just because it was brought up, like you brought up Russia. But if you're a political observer or whatever, then you got to talk about Russia. Now, I don't know, maybe he's just like a YouTuber of some other kind, and he's very popular, and it's to the point where he has a lot of followers in Russia. And if he talks shit about that, he can put himself and his family in danger of Putin, long arms. Then I would understand. But in my case, I don't really have much to lose. I have no influence whatsoever on the Russian people. Barely have any influence, on electric car enthusiasts in America. So I guess I have a luxury. But that guy's situation might be different, right? Rob says, I have to go to a meeting. Thank you, Alex. See you next week. Yeah, you know what? I'm kind of losing my voice also pretty soon. But let me get to the end of the comments. Rob, once again, thank you for the only super chat of the entire live stream at $50. I mean, that's freaking insane, Rob. Once again, thank you. I'm humbled. Have a great meeting, and I will. Did you just super chat at another? Oh yeah, that's insane, Rob. Now your super chat's at $100. I'm rarely speechless, Rob. But you're leaving me. I mean, this is. I don't think anybody has ever super chatted me at $100. I appreciate it more than you know. Thank you for participating in the conversation. By the way, now I'm wondering, what is it that you do for a living that you can just like super chat at the random YouTuber a ridiculous amount of money? So I appreciate it. Thank you. Have a great meeting, and let me just catch up to the rest of the comments. And of course, you guys are welcome to super chat as well. Oh, here's an interesting comment from Mr. R. He says, it just hit me. The thing I hate mostly about all Teslas minus the S and X, that the blend is interior. Oh, really? That's the biggest thing that you hate about Tesla Model S and Model X? But yeah, I agree. I mean, the interior for me is not acceptable. The fact that there is no manual vent adjusters, the fact there is no head-up display or the God, every time I play instrument panel, like yeah, I agree. Okay, Mark says that YouTuber is not that popular. He does chemistry experiments with different elements. Okay, well, I don't know. Maybe he just doesn't want to talk about it. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I don't always want to talk about stuff that kind of I don't want to talk about. Like, I love talking about dating. I love talking about my experience in Thailand. I love talking about the reasons I left America, but maybe he doesn't. Okay, Gestorfic Muncher says Tesla robot has disappeared with no updates. No, I think they put an update the other day. Robot was doing something in the factory or whatever. But the Tesla robot, as I mentioned earlier, maybe you didn't join the stream yet. There's a conference, there's robotics AI conference going on in here in Asia, and everyone's demonstrating their robots. They're cool. They're doing this and that. And Tesla's robot is useless behind the glass, just saying, "Oh, look what we made out of plastic with a 3D printer." So that's the update. That's the update. Rob says, "I am in the tech business." Well, you remind me of a lot of times I would match it with a girl on online, and I would be like, "What do you do?" And she'll be like, "I'm in real estate." And I'm like, "Do you empty garbage cans at the real estate offices, or do you own, a real estate mutual fund?" Like, So, but okay, like I said, I don't want you to say. You don't have to say it. But okay, I'm also in tech business, but I cannot afford super chatting. Even my favorite YouTubers are $100. So I appreciate it, and I'm glad you're doing very well, and you're generous on top of that. So, Wayne says, "I love my Model S." I would say Model S. If I had to buy a Tesla, right, it would have been the Model S again or Model X. Mr. R says, "I've never been in a Tesla. That is why that superficial is my biggest complaint." Did I read it right? I have never been in a Tesla. Mr. R, what, how, where do you live? Like, I live in Thailand, and I was just in like out in the boonies. Like I said, I had to take a train with no air conditioning. There's only one train a day. That's how not very popular that area is, at least not during the week. And I went to the tiny little town with chickens running around everywhere. And there were 2 Teslas just on my way back to the train station. I want to know, where do you live? How is it possible that you've never been inside? Like, many times I ordered an Uber, which is called Grab here, and I got a BYD Dolphin, which is an electric car. Again, out on the boonies in a different province here in Thailand. How did you not accidentally fell yourself into a Tesla all this time, or Uber, or friend, or car show, something like that? I want to know. 7 months passed since the last Tesla robot. No, I really thought updates are not real updates, right? If you program one robot to do this one update, it's a arts and crafts project update, but not really a robot update. Paul T says Tesla are not showing robot too much as other companies copy what they're doing. Paul, honestly, it's just my brain hurts. Sometimes you say stupidest shit. I'm sorry, Paul. I just have to say this is the stupidest shit I've heard all day today. And I've heard some stupid shit today. You do understand that Tesla, I don't even know like from which angle to explain this. Are you not aware of what other robotics companies do? Like, do you know what other robots do right now? I mean, humanoid robots, right? I'm not talking about vacuum cleaners. You do understand that like they run around, jump up and down, do flips, do like obstacle courses. Others are like interacting with human beings and stuff like that. Like it's like they do a lot of amazing stuff. Some have like actual emotions on their faces, like it's almost a human face. Have you like not followed that? Because you can just Google that. There are videos who just basically showcase what robots do. This conference that's happening in I think it's in China, but somewhere in Asia, absolutely already has videos. Like, have you not seen that? Because if anything, Tesla is going to be copying them. Okay, Tesla's got nothing. Their robot doesn't do anything that's impressive if you've ever seen other robots. So, as a matter of fact, even if you go with like Tesla itself, the cars, there's nothing that Tesla is doing that's new and innovative. If anything, they're trying to catch up to others that are innovating now. There's so much innovation going on outside of Tesla, where it's Tesla now catching up as far as like cars are concerned. Battery technology, even charging technology. Tesla's behind in all of that. And they're definitely behind in robots, an industry they've entered only like a year ago, 2 years ago maybe. That's been out there for 20 freaking years, if not more than that. You really think they just beat everybody? You do remember when they unveiled the robot, it was like a human being in a robot Halloween costume dancing around on stage. That's how behind they were. Oh my goodness gracious. They're not showing the robot is because they don't have much to show. That's why, Rob. I'm sorry, Rob. Paul. My goodness gracious. Paul, you're gonna owe me for therapy one day, because I just sometimes you say the shit that just makes no sense. Okay, next comment. J Chemo 11 says, why is the assumption that the Tesla bot can't compete? Perhaps they didn't want the Chinese. Oh my God, there's another comment like this. Okay, I just explained it, and plus the whole point of everybody to showcase their work. That's the whole point of the conference. Just like when you have a car show, everybody brings their cars and concepts. Okay. By the way, there's no such thing as hiding a secret in the automotive industry anymore. You cannot hide a secret, because trust me, everybody inside the industry, like if you don't think that Ford CEO knows exactly what Elon Musk is working on right now as far as Tesla is concerned, you are delusional. Same thing, Elon Musk knows exactly what Ford is doing behind closed doors and secret meetings. There's no secrets anymore. There are no secrets anymore. So no, there's no such thing. By the way, stealing an IP is a very different thing. You don't need to go to a show to steal someone's IP. You hack them, right? So that comment makes no sense whatsoever. I mean, oh, this fucking Tesla apologists. I mean, like, you guys will come. This is the stupidest thing that I've heard. There are better ways to make apologies for Elon. They're still not going to be very educated, but at least they would comprehend it. But this is just, oh boy, yeah. So, yeah. And then, by the way, why be at the show then? Why is Tesla at that show? Why did they even bother? Okay. All right, I'm just going to move on and hope my blood pressure goes down enough for me to fall asleep tonight. Okay, I'll get to one more dumb comment. Tesla is the only robotics company that can manufacture at scale as well. Can you please, whenever you make these statements, can you please tell me what set of data or facts you're relying on? You do understand that Honda is heavily involved with robots. And you do understand that Honda can make whatever the fuck they want. They make millions of cars a year, no problem. You don't think they can make robots? And they make other products, motorcycles, generation, like tons of stuff. Really? I honestly, please, when you say this stupid shit, you gotta tell me at least where you're getting this. My goodness, guys. I mean, honestly, this is one of the problems with generally America and Western cultures. We don't need facts anymore. Like, somebody can just say stupid shit like this, come up with no facts whatsoever. Because before you submitted this comment, I believe I've already told you about all the other stupid stuff you were saying. You're just like, okay, well, facts, you know how they are. And you move on to the next pile of poop you just threw over my fence. And I'm having trouble, like, cleaning up. This is just, it's amazing how, like, you can't, like, people think that their feelings are more important than facts, or they just don't even know what facts are anymore. Yeah, no, Tesla sucks at a lot of things, and robots is one of them because they just started doing that. And there are many companies that have been working on this for many, many, many years, which means those are the companies who have hired the best people who can do it. People don't want to work for Tesla, okay? They don't want to leave Honda or whatever other company where they're not being yelled at or can be fired at any time in an elevator by the CEO, where their work is respected. And there's nobody overriding them and telling them and holding their hands what to do. They can actually flourish on their own. So Tesla won't even get that talent. Yeah, okay. What time is it in Bangkok right now, says Tom. It is too late no matter what, but it's 1:40 in the morning. What time is it in California or whatever you're watching me from? Let me catch up. Robert OG3 says Tesla robots on third updates. Robots have been around for many years, but it's been mostly for industry. Yeah, no, that's true as well. The art of value is pinching in. It says there is a lot of humanoid robots competition, especially in China. I just made a video about that. There you go. Go watch his video about it once the live stream is over, okay? J Chemo 11, let's see, addressed nothing that I said and probably thrown more poop my way. Let's see what it is. Tesla Energy, Tesla FSD, Tesla Insurance, Tesla Bot, Tesla Vehicles. They're more than just making cars. Okay, well, actually, I agree with that one. I know what the point is, but yes, that is factually correct. Okay, can you elaborate on the electric car cost in 2025-26? What did I say about the cost in 25-26 that you would like me to elaborate on? I don't think, did I mention anything? Christopher says, did you tell Warren Redlick? I did. As a matter of fact, I messaged him a few hours ago saying, hey, by the way, I'm going to do this, and I know you're a big Tesla stock fan. Would you like to come on? But I don't think he even read my messages yet. He's usually pretty quick to reply. No, he did not even get that. But I did. So the reason I'm doing this live streams, I don't know if you know, is because Warren and I, besties now, moves to Bangkok, where I live, and kind of as a passport bro as well. And we got to hang out and realize we don't want to kill each other. We actually I kind of like the guy in his normal life. And I said, hey, let's do debates every week. We should do a debate. I mean, it should be fun. I love doing it. I feel like the industry needs it. The niche needs it. And he said, okay. And I was like, hey, let's do it in July. Can you commit to July? And then we'll see how it goes, right? And he said, yeah. And then we did one, and then he flagged to the next one, like really badly. And he said, I can't do it anymore. And the reasons he gave me, I thought was bullshit. But whatever, I'm not going to disclose them because that's a personal information. But yeah, so I did. So we'll see. Maybe he'll come on or comment or whatever at some point, or we'll have a conversation. I did tell him like, hey, let's talk about it maybe next time because we have some time. Are there any EV car shows you will be broadcasting this year soon? I don't know. With car shows. A lot of us who reported electric vehicles used to be invited and flown in by these companies, but now these companies have much smaller budgets, and now that bigger YouTubers and bigger publications, automotive publications, cover that, they end up just only bringing them, right, and not us anymore. They kind of used us up, I guess, and now they don't really, because we're not big enough, and that makes us even smaller, and the bigger guys even bigger. But that's how life is. So I don't know. LA Auto Show. Like I used to be a spokesperson. I used to be a brand ambassador. I hosted their first and I think only electric vehicle award show. Like, you know what I mean? And then they just stopped calling me. So it. I don't know. I honestly like. I've pivoted this channel quite a few times now, and I'm getting a little tired of pivoting the channel. What I've been doing for the last 3 months, I've been bringing you guys 2 short videos per day, right, and 1 live stream per week, and it just doesn't seem like. I know I still get about like 1 million views a month on all platforms, but it's not what I'm looking for. So like I said, I'm going to try a different format over the next month or so. I'm going to, do the mini documentary about the Cybertruck, and then we'll see. We'll see, because like I'm getting kind of tired of this, honestly. And plus the industry has turned into a pile of negative news every day, and it's like my electric car channel looks like I hate electric cars. Not good. Ray says, you nailed it. I had the money to buy a dream car this year, but Elon is supporting the head of a car. Okay, so there you go. Somebody who wanted to buy a Tesla, if I understand correctly, then saw Elon Musk supporting the guy you hate. I'm assuming at the very least don't like and would vote against. And now you're not going to buy a Tesla. And I'm going to tell you, there will be thousands, if not tens, probably tens of thousands of people like you, Ray. And that's what is... that's why I wanted to short the stock. You know what I mean? But okay, someone says just have Warren short Tesla stock for you. Well, Warren can't technically do that either because he lives here now too. He has to obey by the same rules, right? Let's see. What else? Paul says Tesla and SpaceX are the most sought after companies by young engineers. Check your facts. They're attracting top talent. No, Paul, check your facts. It used to be true. And even as recently as probably last year, but not any longer. There's just too many people now have spoken up about what happened to them at Tesla. And again, Tesla is not really innovating anymore. As much as other companies. So a lot of people are choosing many other companies over Tesla. So no. And by the way, when it comes to robotics, why would you want to work for Tesla? That's kind of in the beginning of their journey when you're working on real shit at companies like Honda and other companies in China and Europe that have been doing it for many years, have other excellent talent, are not being basically insulted and babysat by the supreme leader. No, Again, maybe like in the car industry that could still be true, even though, like I said, that's really going away if it hasn't already. But in the robotics industry, hell no. I mean, if that was the case, there would be tons of news, which you won't be able to find. Feel free to Google it right now, that a lot of robotics executives and talent has migrated to Tesla. You won't find a single one because that's not happening and it shouldn't be happening. So, makes sense? Hopefully. The Art of Value says you need a huge number of short video views to make it worth it as far as revenues go. Well, so most of the time I rely on sponsors, but a lot of sponsors who used to sponsor me don't want to do it anymore because these are electric car companies who I've criticized and they cannot stand that, right? Also, a lot of other companies that sponsored me simply, a recession is a real thing, no matter what you see on TV, on YouTube. A lot of companies are struggling. A lot of companies in the space are struggling, especially competing with Chinese companies who bring a lot of stuff here from China. I don't mean cars. I mean charging stations and so forth. So I relied on sponsors, and you can still make decent money featuring them in your shorts. But as you can see, I haven't had a single sponsor in a long time. Now, granted, I took some time to pivot. Then I took some time to execute, and I haven't really looked for sponsors. But sponsors used to come to me and other YouTubers, and now they just don't. So it's the social media is changing, the platforms, the way the money is made. I'm going to continue making videos for the rest of the year for sure, no matter whether I'm getting paid or not. And then we'll see. Callistos Kali says, will you consider talking about hybrids? Plug-in hybrids, yes. But hybrids? No, they're essentially gas cars, so never have. Mr. R has, I had no idea that you had to be in country to short stocks. So I don't know if it's the law, but essentially you're at the mercy of the brokerages, right? Because you would short through a brokerage, and that's their rules. I don't know if all of them, but that's another thing. If you live overseas and let's say your brokerage doesn't allow you and another one does, another one probably has a rule you cannot create a new account if you live overseas. So, yeah. I was surprised, by the way, but it is what it is because I am a U.S. citizen after all. Let's see. Steve O says, so many people in this chat completely brainwashed and indoctrinated by mainstream corporate media. Unfortunately, I think anybody who's like supporting Elon Musk right now and still think that Tesla are the best like electric cars, unfortunately fall into that category with some exceptions. Like, I always give an example of my former assistant who I'm still friends with. He recently bought a Tesla Model Y, and he called me. He's like, Alex, I want to buy an electric car because I don't have an electric car. I've been a fan, and I want to buy. I finally have money, but Model Y is the only one that I can lease for like $300. Where the next one up, that's not better, or if it is by far, not by far, like Ioniq 5 or Mustang Mach-E is like double of that. So I'm not a millionaire yet. So, and I said, yeah, you're right. I'd rather have you buy Tesla than not buy an electric car at all, if that makes financial sense, right? So, yeah. Let's see. Garden says, hello from Brazil. Visit here. We have room for you. I love Brazilian women. I've dated a few actually before leaving America. But unfortunately, and that's one of many reasons I chose Thailand, the crime, the violent crime in Brazil is way too high for my taste. As a matter of fact, I was just reviewing statistics, crime statistics, and you guys, I'm not comfortable with that at all. Because in America, I walked around I was a licensed gun owner. In the last 2 years, I would never left my house without a gun, on my hip. And I'm not a gun guy. I hate guns, by the way. So there's no way I would be walking around a country with any violent crime, without an ability to protect myself. And foreigners cannot get firearm carrying permits in other countries. So would love to visit. I'm sure I would fall in love within seconds, but not yet. You guys clean up, please. He is good at auto shows. Maybe for electric can do a news tech where we discuss whether it's hype or real trend. You know, I've tried a lot of things, and you know, I would say that I feel like I definitely have the knowledge because that's all I do. Not only that, I don't have a knowledge just because I review news and press releases every day, which everybody can do, but most people don't, but I do. But I also have a lot of industry connections. I've traveled the world. I've seen and I've talked to people who design these cars, who make these cars, some of the CEOs. I've seen the factories. I've seen people working on these cars. I've driven a lot of them, you know. So overall, I know I'm an expert. I am better at this stuff and more qualified to talk about this stuff than 99.9% of population, right? So I know that my knowledge is there and my experience is there. I know that I'm better than most people on camera because a lot of people cannot even think straight when they're on camera because they're worried about being on camera and all that stuff. It took me a while too. And I am good at video production. Like, most of the time, you will, even with live streaming, I'll have a decent sound and I'll have a pleasant looking setting and, my cameras are decent. And, when you see my other videos, and on top of that, I am very much committed. I mean, I've been doing this for now, 8 years, this channel? It's 7 or 8 years old now. So I'm committed of being around. I'm not one of those people who like, oh, this is great. Oh, it's not paying enough or whatever. I now have another hobby and I'm going to go there. I've been very committed to this. So the fact that somehow I'm not making as much money before, and I'm struggling to get sponsors, and I'm struggling to get views, something's up. Like, this is a weird universe. Usually, and I know I'm going to sound like an old fart. To me, it's like, hey, listen, if you work hard on something, if you get decent at something, good, which I think I am at this, you would always be able to make a decent living. That's not what's happening to me and many other YouTubers. I know YouTubers in this and other spaces. And in this space, obviously I'm thinking about Transport Evolved, right? Nikki, she should be millionaire by now. She's an excellent reporter, and yet, I can see that her views, and I know many other people in other niches that are excellent at what they do, the quality of their work, the experience, the information. And they're like, oh, I can't get my bills paid anymore. Now, I'm lucky because I have other investments. I already saved up enough money to live on for the rest of my life if I wanted to. I live in a country where it's very affordable. So but I mean, literally, I'm doing this as a hobby this year, if you really think about it. But others are not willing to do that. So, I will change my format just a little bit in the next few months, and I will see what else I can do. But honestly, at some point, there are a lot of other topics that I think I can make money on, like talking about modern dating, talking about traveling and living outside of America. I feel like I have expertise and knowledge there as well. I will just take my, video creator skills and do it and use them there. But for now, I'm still, yeah, the recession is coming. I think the recession is already here, to be honest with you. Super synthesis. Got it. Like your discussion so far, except for the economics, by no metric in the U.S. is the recession. Oh, recession is negative economic growth. Growth has merely slowed. Huge difference. Okay, so yeah, you're right. But I feel like there's two ways to label a recession. One is textbook that you're suggesting, where the economics factors but there are a lot of times they rely on data like, jobs and stock market. Stock market has very little to do with reality of people paying their bills, right? Jobs indexes have always been off when people, a lot of times when people give up on looking for a job, they're no longer considered to be a person that's unemployed, right? But that's important. Like, or people stop filing for unemployment, boom, and never finding a job, they're not being considered anymore. And that's what happens during a recession a lot of times. So those numbers are not even correct. I'm talking about what I'm seeing down in the trenches, what people can afford and cannot afford, how many people I know personally, and they know, that I hear about that lose their jobs and not able to find again, how many companies that have done well in my industry that are no longer able to afford a lot of things, from big guys like Volkswagen to small guys. I don't want to name them, but they're also struggling. I haven't seen that in a long time. To me, I'm calling that a recession. I'm calling that when people in business, small businesses are struggling. To me, that's what I'm calling a recession. I understand though your point, textbook, maybe not yet. Here's a great question. Callistos Kali says, must you know Thai to live in Thailand? Now, do you must? Of course, there's no law. Should you? Let me give you an answer. So I'm a passport bro, right? I came here because I do no longer want to date Western women. I want to date traditional women, and a lot of Thai women here are traditional. The thing is this, I've noticed that when a Thai woman learns how to speak English, she's automatically exposed to the culture, and she's no longer traditional most of the time. The traditional Thai women do not speak English. So if you came here for that reason, you need to learn Thai. Also, I always, you're not, here's the thing. If you want to live in Thailand, enjoy their culture, enjoy their religion, enjoy their people, enjoy their food and traditions, how are you going to do that if you don't speak Thai? You want to go for some authentic Thai food, the menu is not going to be in English, buddy. It's going to be in Thai, right? You want to talk and get to know Thai people, the authentic, real Thai people do not speak English, right? So all of this thing, you want to understand their music, guess what? It's all in Thai. It just in generally, even when I was an American, I'm an immigrant who came to America without any English. I always say, listen, if you want to come to America and enjoy this country and live here for the rest of your life, you need to learn the fucking language or get the fuck out. And I'm an immigrant. I kind of the same way here, and I'm practicing what I preached. If I want to live in Thailand long term, marry a Thai girl, even if she does speak English, none of her family probably does. A lot of families live in provinces, they don't speak English, they don't need to. So, if you want to marry a girl and be able to be close to her family, which is kind of the reason you're here, right? You need to speak Thai. You want to enjoy real Thai food, you want to enjoy, traveling through Thailand and living in Thai neighborhoods and talking to Thai people, having Thai friends, you need to learn Thai. Or, get the fuck out, That's my view on that. Paul T says mainstream media hates Tesla, so don't think they brainwashed anyone to believe in Tesla. Quite the opposite. That's an interesting comment, Paul. They used to love Tesla, and I still think they do to the point, but yes, a lot of critique has been happening. So I would say that mainstream media helped to brainwash people when it wasn't even brainwashing, because Tesla was kind of good. And then that kind of, the job was done, right? I don't think that, you may be right. It's right now, it's not the mainstream Tesla that's brainwashing people. It's really the Tesla influencers, right? If you want to Google Tesla or YouTube Tesla, you're going to end up a lot of Tesla fanboys telling you, whatever their supreme leader told them to do. And you see a lot of my videos doing reaction videos and reacting to them and giving you the actual facts when they lie to you, which they do all the time. So that's probably, and that's why this Tesla fanatic army is now has stopped growing, but now is shrinking, I believe. The number of people who start their YouTube channels about Tesla, I feel like has decreased. The number of views that Tesla content used to get has decreased. The number of people buying Tesla has decreased, and a number of like fan clubs and stuff like that has decreased. So yeah, I'm going to leave it at that. Super Synthesis says, Alex, you're putting way too much emphasis on the relative rates of crimes, ignoring the absolute rates of crime in the US, Philippines, and Brazil, which are low. So, you know, you're right. I mean, the statistics a lot of times is skewed, right? And sometimes it's underreported as well. But I can tell you that before I came to Thailand, I've asked people who lived here to tell me about what the crime is like, and what they told me matches what I see on the streets here, at least where I live. And today, like I said, last 2 days I spent in the province, you know, walking around places where it was like no other foreigners into the night. Anybody could have done anything to me they wanted and probably get away with it. Nothing happened. People been nothing but great and faithful. Thai people are amazing. So at the same time, I also understand when you live somewhere, you also understand where to go, where not to go, what to say, what not to say, and so forth. And you know, but I need But when I thought about maybe moving to Philippines, I also talked to people, and you know, you can talk to people you know, but also you know, forums, some Facebook groups and stuff like that. And I said, okay. You know, for those of you who lived in Thailand and Philippines, which there are quite a few, where would you say there's bigger crime, like Manila or Bangkok? And pretty much everybody said, yeah, Manila is definitely up there, definitely compared to Bangkok. And to me, I was like, all right, you know, but there are a lot of other things besides crime. For example, healthcare. You know, are there great, excellent, you know, hospitals with, you know, Western and Stanford educated doctors? I don't know, maybe, but you know, like for example, is the fast the fast internet is available everywhere. Like in Philippines, when I went to Cebu City, where you know the crime is okay, pretty low, they have no freaking internet, or you can get a Uber car most of the time. So you know, it's more than just that. I understand your point, but I would need 2 or 3 people who live there for a long time and can tell me that you need to come here and this is what it is and here's the statistics, you know, but I don't have a person like that. So I could have been missing out, but at this point, you know, I love Thailand. I love Thai people. Everything that I wanted out of life is here. Respectful people, you know, great healthcare, low crime rates, you know, still traditional women, gender roles, and very affordable. I know Brazil is very affordable as well. So, you know, so I'm going to stick around here for a while, but I hear you. Super Synthesis says, you often say fuck your feelings, but seems to reference vibes when referring to economics or crime. Well, I do both, right? So maybe you're confusing my feelings with my preferences. Maybe that's the thing, right? Like, for example, we have different feelings, but also have different preferences. Like, so when it comes to crime, like some people go like, well, you know, if I go out, you know, and I don't get shot, I'm good. But to me, it's like, well, if I want to make sure that if I have a girlfriend, the chances of her getting, you know, attacked and many other things that you don't want to say on a live stream, you know, if the chances are decent, then to me, that's also unacceptable. You know, and yes, I do have to rely on my personal observations. You know, but I also, like, for example, my observations about whether or not there's a recession in the electric car industry. Well, they're my personal observations, but they are relying on a lot of people who I know in the industry, who know way more than me and have a finger on the pulse of the industry. So you have enough of those people in your life, you know, your personal observations actually become quite educated guesses at this point, or even, you know, even essentially statistics. And like we just talked about, the statistics can also be misleading. So are you confusing my feelings with my preferences? If not, if you still believe that, then let me know which feelings I have tried to pass as facts. Sometimes I admit, like, I need to feel safe. Like, I need to go down the street and feel safe. You're right. That's a feeling. It still usually sits on top of data and experiences and observations. But yes, so if you can clarify, I will clarify as well. Oh, super chat. Oh, somebody else super chatted. Thank you so much. $5. That's enough for literally. You can stretch it into definitely a full day of meals easily here. Thank you. Why has Elon promised tech never come out? Why has Elon's promised tech never come out? The Vegas Loop sucks, Roadster and Cybertruck below promised specs. I'm telling you, there is an actual a spreadsheet of all the promises that he has made. I think it started by him making promises because he was very optimistic. And the higher you aim, the higher you jump. And a lot of those promises he ended up delivering at some point. But I think at some point he's also kind of got a really big head and decided that, well, there are no repercussions of me promising stuff. And the more I promise, the higher the stock gets, the more money I'm worth. Might as well promise a lot of shit that I cannot deliver. And then he just stuck with it. There's no punishment, right? I think it's catching up to him now, barely, but it is. So I think that's why there was no punishment. So I would say that's the answer. Oh, did he promise Mars by 2022? That sounds crazy, actually. With people? Wow. All right. Well, there's a spreadsheet. Have you bought an EV in Thailand yet? Asked Listos Kali. No, I haven't, and I don't think I will. I live in Bangkok. Owning a car here, generally speaking, when I came to Thailand, I wanted my life to change. No, not only for the better. My life was already good in America, but not only for the better in dating wise and all, but I also wanted to make changes that I've kind of gotten used to, never questioned about Western culture. And driving a car, which is never a positive experience, pretty much, is one of them. I don't want to be behind the wheel. I get really annoyed with people, especially here. It's also traffic. You can go 3-5 kilometers and spend an hour in a car. Today I went through 8 kilometers, which is what I guess 5 miles. Took me an hour and a half. Now I could have been stuck in traffic and trying to be, but I spend half of that time sleeping, half of that time working and studying Thai. So I don't want to be behind the wheel anymore, especially where there's so much transportation. If I was somewhere out in the boonies where like even Uber services are not available and there's no public transportation, I would rethink that. But here, no way. I don't want to. I really don't want to. So Ryzen Shout says now you have guys like Warren and Ryan Shaw talking about nuclear batteries and Hyperloop from California to Asia. Do these guys know physics or are they just drinking the Kool-Aid? They're drinking the Kool-Aid. I mean, we know that. And I told Warren to his face many times. That's why we had Ryan Shaw is a different type of a fanboy. But yeah, that's the part of the cult. And people, sooner or later, people will see that the emperor has no clothes. And whatever they're saying, people will no longer believe. Also, Super Synthesis says, but the growth of EV sales are down. EV sales are not declining. Yeah, that's right. That's exactly what I said. The growth, well, no, that's not even true either. The growth of EV sales is there, right? Because they sold more electric cars this year compared to the same point of the last year, right? So the growth is there. The growth of the growth is down, right? So yeah, does that make sense? So yeah, so I agree with you, but I think I know what you meant. Elon Musk is a perfect example of someone who was once bright and less crazy, but now is still somewhat bright, but increasingly crazy, and he's always lacked wisdom in some ways. Yeah, I agree. Absolutely. It's very unfortunate, but fame and money does that to you. He's not the first or last person that we've seen this from, right? CB250F asked me a very uneducated and dumb American question, but I will answer it because actually it's also an interesting question. You got ladyboys over there. You got to be the ladyboy. Like, it's very sad that people think about the world, like in this case, Bangkok and Thailand, from what they've learned from Hangover movies, right? So like, and I'm not gonna lie, I gotta say, if you come here and start swiping on dating apps and see girls on the streets, the most beautiful girls you're gonna pick most of the time are ladyboys, and there's actually a reason behind it. It's very weird, it's cultural, but yes, they here you will be fooled. But they're usually very upfront with you, and they'll let you know that they're ladyboy, and so they're pretty good about it. So I'm a straight man, so I'll look and I'll be like, damn, that's pretty good. That's good for you, girl, But they're not for me, though. I gotta tell you, there's plenty of people who love ladyboys here. And there are foreigners who, ladyboys are not like, I think trans people, the American culture made them into kind of like freaks almost. Where here, they're part of the society. Like, nobody gives a shit. There are ladyboys everywhere, and some of them look like 100% women you'll never guess. Some of them you definitely can guess, but people just don't care. There's a thing, you can be anywhere you want. I mean, people don't care. So you can be, what would look like a straight man walking down the street with ladyboy, and people like, yeah, whatever, you do you, man, no problem. So, but yeah, so not for me. As a matter of fact, I have not even made friends with a ladyboy because we're kind of cool, right? I would love to. I love having friends of different parts of not just the world but culture, and it would be great to have. Now, I don't want to make specifically friends with a trans person just because they're trans, right? But I think that would be kind of cool. Definitely would make me a better person to have friends and who's trans. Superchats says yes, transgender women in Thailand and the Philippines are seen very differently. Yeah. So here's the thing. Actually, one of the ladyboys, when I talk to him, because I'm not gonna lie, sometimes when I match on a dating app and the ladyboy doesn't tell me until like we wasted some time, I'm like, hey, listen, that's bullshit. You wasted my time. You matched with me. I'm a straight man, and you have that one thing that I'm never be okay with. So why? So this that does happen. It's annoying sometimes, but. So one of the lady boys explained to me that there's a difference between transgender women and lady boys. So transgender woman is essentially, and again, doesn't mean that this is exactly how it is, but that's what one of the lady boys told me. It's just transgender women are women who are already post-op. They've had a confirmation surgery, as it's called, and lady boys are the ones that haven't. So that's kind of a nuance that I was taught. I don't know if it's 100% true or not. They're much more visible and are often viewed more like a third gender. I don't know what you... Okay, I don't... They're much more visible and are often... Okay, I don't know what that was in... the ladyboys, transgender women in Thailand and the Philippines, yeah. But like I said, nobody cares. Nobody cares here. Whatever you do, whatever you date, whoever. There's no bullshit about bathrooms. By the way, like, oh man, like bathrooms here, when you walk into men's bathroom, a lot of times there will be a girl there. A lot of times it's a young girl because she is the cleaner. So yeah, you will walk in the bathroom and be a female cleaner there because they hired a female, and so because they don't hire men because they cannot clean women's bathroom, right? But they'll hire women to clean women's bathroom. And a lot of times when you walk into a bathroom, the urinals are exposed to the entrance and windows. Like today I was at the train station and I was using a urinal, a full length, glass, not frosted, like full glass. So whoever was walking or driving by on the street next to the train station saw me pee. Like this whole thing about bathrooms is so pathetically ridiculous here, where people like transgender women and whatever female bathrooms. Oh, okay, what's the problem? You know what I mean? Like, this is one of the reasons I wanted to move here. It's just like there's no woke bullshit, and I know people think it's a liberal thing, and a lot of times it is, but just general the cancel culture that So because I know that the transgender issue is more like Republicans, like the conservatives are on top of that, and I consider that woke as well. Like just like nobody cares. You're peeing. Nobody wants to see that, and if they do, let them, I guess. But so yeah, it's very freeing here. Robert OG3 says average man lives 75 years while average woman lives 85 years. I think I'll do full transgender. Yeah, there was a male comedian who said the similar statistics, and he was like, well, I guess it's not too late to transition. But I don't think the gap is that big. I think the gap is only 2 or 3 years within the same country. I do know that a Thai man lives much longer, or 2 or 3 years longer than an American man. So I've transitioned into a Thai man. Obviously, I think I'll live longer, but I can see why, right? Free healthcare, happier people. Even though people work here very hard, they're just happier people, and the food is sourced much better. I mean, the food in America is just poison at this point, right? I already gave you guys examples that I cannot eat gluten in America, but I absolutely can eat it here. Same wheat, right? But grown and post-processed very differently. So that's why people, I think, live here much longer. Oh, and of course they don't kill each other like as such rates as you guys do in America. So okay, guys, I have streamed for over 2 hours, and honestly, I know I'm losing my voice and it's late, but it's not that. I really need to pee at this point, because you're supposed to drink a lot of water, not just for your voice, but because it's hot. And I spend most of my day out in a heat and on a train without air conditioning, so I had to drink a lot of water. All right, I'll read one more. Unless there are super chats, I'll pee my pants for a super chat, I guess. Yes, people in the Philippines are much happier than Americans. I love Philippines, by the way. If it wasn't for a much lower standard of life there, I would have probably stayed there. I'm going to visit Cebu City again, by the way. For sure. Does being a U.S. citizen prevent you from effectively living overseas due to tax reporting constraints? No. First of all, you get some tax exemptions, and there's a treaty between Thailand and America, so you don't get you don't get double taxed for sure. You kind of have to pick one, but the tax code in America, and again, I'm not giving you financial advice. The tax code in America is pretty clear on what your tax home is, as they call it. And for me, it's here in Thailand. So there are exceptions, but not on everything, only certain income. But taxes have never been a problem. Thailand is the most near kind of libertarian culture I can deal with, but I will always fall back on the Buddhist religion and them not being Christian. One supports love for all and one does not. Oh yeah, Buddhism. Honestly, I'm not a religious person, but if I had to pick one religion that I would be like the most excited about, is definitely going to be Buddhism, because it is extremely peaceful religion, very accepting religion, not I hate the other religions, they all must die type of religion. I honestly, I think if I had to pick one religion that makes people better, generally, right, I would say Buddhism for sure. Yes, the U.S. food supply is mostly composed of processed foods, but also GMO'd foods. That's the thing. GMO'd foods, and generally like a lot of unhealthy, where here it's kind of sourced. By the way it's sourced. Here, a lot of stuff is just fresh because it's right from the farm, from the sea or whatever. Where in America, they have to pack it and transform it. It's just much better sourced food here. So, all right, guys, I have streamed for way too long. I'm trying not to pee my pants, and I think I'm going to be losing that battle very soon. I want to say thank you for joining me. I kind of was looking forward to doing this because I also prepared, because this was kind of a new thing to me. I was almost excited about doing this short thing with TSLA, and I thought, personally, that was going to be a good investment for me. But at the end of the day, I'm curious to know. Would I be right or I would be wrong? And we'll find out, and I will absolutely do another video. So thank you so much for joining me. This has been fun. It is past 2 o'clock in the morning. I gotta take a shower and go to bed. So I will see you guys next week. Thank you to all of the people who super chatted, both of you guys. I appreciate it. And of course, I'll see you next time. And remember to stay charged.